Russia is famous for a lot of things, but their influence on the video game industry is definitely not one of them. That is, with one huge exception. One of the most famous games of all time hails from the Soviet Union, inexplicably. Tetris was programmed by a Russian software engineer named Alexei Pajitnov in his spare time and released officially in 1988. The history of Tetris honestly deserves its own video, but I'll give a basic rundown here. According to Soviet law, the government held a monopoly over the import and export over all copyrighted works, so Pajitnov couldn't sell the game himself. He approached his supervisor to help publish Tetris, and thanks to his boss, the game got spread across Eastern Europe. Thanks to a software salesman on vacation who saw the game and its potential, it got spread to the rest of the world. There's way more to the story, that's like a super simplification. The story is so weird and complicated that they actually made a movie about it for Apple TV. I have no idea if it's accurate or not, but if it isn't, there are tons of other documentaries and articles about it. Anyway, the first commercial version of Tetris was made by Spectrum Holobyte for the MS-DOS. This was the box art, which is hilarious considering that this game was released during the Cold War. At the very end of the Cold War, I know, but still, that's a bold move considering the times. If you knew nothing about Tetris and played a modern version, you would have absolutely no idea it was a Soviet game, but earlier versions made it pretty much impossible to miss that. The NES version's art isn't quite as on the nose as the first release, but with the words "From Russia with Fun" on the box and St. Basil's Cathedral being on the title screen, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone on Earth knew where this was from. Because it was a pack-in title, it sold amazingly on the Game Boy, only getting beaten out by Pokemon Generation 1, surprise surprise. It still did really well on NES, becoming the fourth best-selling NES game of all time. It outsold every single NES game that wasn't a pack-in title, and even outsold Mario 2. Interestingly, Nintendo actually developed this version of Tetris in-house. When you start it up, you actually get a copyright disclaimer before the title screen. I like this title screen. It's not anything spectacular, but it fits really well. I'm a little disappointed that there's not just a hammer and sickle on the title screen with the whole game being in red and gold, but whatever. After the title screen, you get to a level and music selection screen. Weirdly enough, the classic Tetris theme actually isn't in this game. For some reason, it has Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy as one of the options, which is kind of funny. They probably just wanted to go with a random, generic, Russian-sounding song, but I would have picked the 1812 Overture or Waltz of the Flowers or something. You also get two game modes. A is standard Tetris, B is a mode where you clear 25 lines. You can also choose a level from 0 to 9, but I always just choose level 0 because I want to feel better about myself. Getting into the actual game, it is plain old Tetris. The NES version of Tetris is Tetris in its purest form. You only see one piece in advance, you can't save pieces for later. There are no stupid gimmicks that add nothing to the experience, and the game is absolutely perfect as a result. I don't have to explain Tetris to you, but in case you're an alien or you live under a rock or something, I might as well. You move around blocks with 4 squares to fill a row. In case you wanted to learn something useless today, they're called tetraminos. When you fill a row, the row goes away. If you don't fill a row, then that row stays until you go to the very top. If you stack too slowly or clumsily and you end up stacking them all the way to the top, then that's game over. I consider myself pretty good at Tetris, so on my first run I felt proud of myself about getting to 100 levels. Then the blocks started falling like lead, and I lost in about 5 seconds, which was quite a blow to my ego. Unless you're a god at this game, you cannot do anything about this. A little bit of a disappointing end, but I had fun along the way. Looking back at it, it is very constrained by the limited color palettes. Visually, the game is a little dull, but they do change it up a bit by changing the colors of the blocks every 10 lines. The background also being made of Tetris blocks is a really nice touch. And that's Tetris. It functions exactly the same as a modern version of Tetris. Tetris really isn't a game you can improve upon much, so this still works perfectly. As for the ranking, I'll put it between Mario 1 and 2. It's a really good puzzle game, but it's not quite as revolutionary as the original Mario and not as impressive as Kirby's Adventure. Wow. That's 25 NES games I've reviewed. This is exciting. I'm 3.7% of the way done. Anyway, I'm sorry for taking so long with this video. I was taking a short break. After stepping away for a bit, I feel much more rested and I'm going to upload much more frequently from now on. Anyway, thank you for watching. 8 out of 10. Have a good day. Like and subscribe. Bye.